place of independence and democracy. The museum preserves and displays Seodaemun Prison, signifying the suffering and pain of Koreans during the modern period. Here, independence activists and pro-democracy activities were jailed and martyred. Despite such a history of suffering, Koreans achieved independence and democracy. The Seodaemun Prison History Hall represents the history of struggle to achieve Korea's independence and democracy with such indomitable spirit and potential. From 1910 until 1945, the Japanese ruled over Korea, a period known as the Japanese colonial period. These times had many ups and downs. On the one hand, the Japanese extensively modernized Korea and built new roads, schools, and telegraph lines. However, they also made life for the Koreans very difficult. This was especially true in the 1930s, when serious activities were undertaken to erase the Korean identity. One of the methods used was a veto imposed on the Korean language, banning it from public schools. They also forced the Korean people to change their personal identities and adopt Japanese names. Naturally, there were those who opposed the Japanese rule. These people were taken to prison. Seodaemun Prison was an institution where many Korean activists ended up. The city of Seoul was chosen as the perfect location for the prison, and in 1907 the first brick was laid. Construction only took 1 year. On October 21, 1908, it was officially opened under the name Gyeongsangamak. It was constructed to house 500 prisoners, although during its most crowded years, it would be a hell on earth for 3,500 prisoners. There were separate blocks for male and female inmates. As the years went by, more and more people were brought in. Most of these were freedom fighters and part of the Korean liberation movement. One of the movement's prominent figures was Kim Koo, who was brought to Gyeongsangamak in 1911. Seodaemun Prison had a bad reputation. According to researchers, although around 90 Korean prisoners officially died in the institution, there were about 600 others that also perished, never to be seen or heard from since. There are many speculations about Seodaemun and the number of people killed within its walls. Many were tortured and executed. In 1923, the prison changed its name from Gyeongsangamak, a traditional name for a Japanese prison, to Seodaemun Prison. It continued to change its name over the years but is most widely known as Seodaemun Prison. Shortly after the mass demonstrations, or the March 1st movement, in 1919, a great number of Koreans were arrested and brought to Seodaemun Prison. The demonstrations happened as a direct result of the Japanese occupation. Hundreds of thousands participated, and sadly thousands were killed in a gruesome way by the Japanese police, and thousands were arrested and taken to prison. As an act of punishment, the Japanese authorities publicly executed a number of demonstrators. With this huge influx of people, conditions in the prison became unbearable, torture and execution became an everyday event. Executions took place in the execution hall, where the gallows were located. The Japanese used the prison until 1945, when they surrendered at the end of the Second World War. The South Korean government took control over the institution and used it for their own purposes until it was closed for good in 1987. Today, part of it serves as a museum and a historical monument to all those that lost their lives under the tortuous Japanese rule. Anyone can come and visit the jail cells and torture contraptions that were once extensively used. The gallows are still standing too. Many of the torture chambers are equipped with human dummy models to demonstrate the horrors the Korean prisoners had to endure.
그리고 고군도 여기 있는 데다가 소리 오는 데다가 나무 모여까지 해서 요식단까지 와서 어쩔 수 없어서 우리는 세상을 떠났습니다.
당시의 고통스러운 흔적을 간직했지. 이제 서대문 형무소 한 구석에 자리한 공장스. 그때의 흔적은 이름 모를 수감자가 만든 벽돌 조각에 남아있는 서울 경장. 그 속에서 우리는 불굴의 의지와 마음을 숨긴 채 묵묵히 일해야만 했던 애국지사들의 자유와 평화를 향한 간절한 외침을 느낄 수 있다.
주대 거기 한 주대도 왔지. 그러니까 남자가 예 하고 대답하니까 결산소식에서 회의를 안 했다는 걸 죽어도 얘기하지 말아라. 그렇게 모두 결의했는데 자결을 해니까 괘씸하다고 일나서 출발했지.
독립군 양성기관 신흥무관학교를 세운 우당 이태영 선생의 아들인 이규창 애국지사. 집안의 영향으로
나부터 출발하시오. 그림이 무슨 내가 편안하다. 나를 갖다가 후려 때리고 흘리
형무소 안에서 가진 고민에 시달렸던 이규창 애국지사. 그때의 흔적은 아직도 그의 몸에 고스란히 남아있다. 몇 번이나 죽음의 고비를 넘긴 1945년 드디어 해방이 찾아왔고 이규창 애국지사도 풀려날 수 있었다. 모든 국민이 자유롭게 살 수 있는 지금의 대한민국이 그는 행복하다고 말한다. 중연방적 주식회사에서 노동운동을 주도하다 일제에 체포된 이병희 애국지사. 그녀가 독립운동에 깊게 관여하게 된 것은 아버지 이경식 애국지사부터 먼 친척이던 이육사 시인까지 가족 모두가 독립운동을 하던 집안 분위기 때문이었다.
집에 어떤 집이 이제 12시에 큰데 뭐 총들 한 대를 그냥 막 집어넣으니까 4년 반에 그걸 뭐 상상했기.
1930년대 수감되었던 이병희 애국지사는 80여 년이 지났어도 고문의 기억을 잊지 못한다.
이런 걸 없으면 아니야. 얼마나 비행기고 오늘 비행기 바깥에 보내줬다고 해도 자궁에 딱 막대기는 남자들을 꼬투에다가 휘어다가 포지는 그러면 아이를 더 주고 그러니까 자손을 갖추지 않기 위해서 그런 건데 차라리 죽는 게 낫다. 죽여달라고 아버지 죽는 게 낫다. 아픈 거보다 죽는 게 낫다.